Everyone talks about keeping your brain sharp. The mind diet, brain training apps, crossword puzzles, and exercise. But let's talk about the real-life brain test. It's not Sudoku. It's not Wordle. It's 8:17 p.m. The house is quiet and you're finally settled down after answering emails, dishes, and one last text from your boss. And suddenly, the pantry is calling your name like a late-night infomercial. You're not hungry, but chocolate chips sounds kind of spiritual, and you're thinking, why is this so hard for me? If you've ever felt that way, this episode is for you. Because today, we're taking your brain to mini medical school, and we're talking about cravings, brain health, and why willpower is wildly overrated. Healthy isn't just what you do, it's who you become. I'm Dr. Vickie, and this is Healthy Looks Great on You, a lifestyle medicine podcast to help you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your well-being. Life-tested, doctor-approved. In the front part of your brain is the prefrontal cortex, right there, behind your forehead. And it's the part of your brain that regulates emotions, including impulses and stress responses. It's where your personality lives, and it regulates social behavior. It plays a role in memory and focus, too, so that you can pay attention and listen to this podcast, even if I wade a little too far into the science. The main reason I brought you here to the prefrontal cortex is because this is the area of the brain that plans, organizes, problem solves, and makes decisions. I can think of more than one way that this system breaks down when cravings shout louder than reason. Oh, you find anatomy a little boring? Well, how about we move on to physiology and brain chemistry then? It's okay. We all have our favorite subjects. And if chemistry is your thing, then you know that dopamine is a powerful neurotransmitter. It relays messages in the brain, and it's also made in the brain. And the brain is very partial to its homegrown hormone, which is released by the hypothalamus. Dopamine is the fuel for motivation and pleasure, and your brain will do anything to seek reward. Anything. Because here's the deal. Dopamine reinforces the need for dopamine, and that's why it's involved in addiction, whether it's drugs, tobacco, alcohol, shopping, or food. Dopamine tips the scale. And sugar gives your brain a blast of dopamine, spiking levels up by 140%. Imagine pleasure, motivation, and happiness right there in a caramel macchiato. You didn't see that coming, did you? Well, let me explain. A grande macchiato contains 32 grams of sugar, and yeah, that's a lot. And the release of dopamine is not only a surge, it's immediate. One bite of Rocky Road chocolate ice cream and instant pleasure and satisfaction. This isn't math class, but cha-ching, a bowl of creamy goodness, another 20 grams of sugar. Grab a can of Coke and bada bing, that'll be another 39 grams of sugar. You could have had a Snickers bar for only 20 grams. And you've probably heard that blueberries are good for you and especially good for your mind. But eat a blueberry muffin, and you can add another 40 grams of sugar to the running tally. Now, what do you want for lunch? By now, you're probably beginning to think that maybe you need some real food, but your brain is already amped up and looking for another hit of sugar like a heat-seeking missile. Maybe you need protein, right? After all, protein does stabilize blood sugar. Not that protein bar. It's got 23 grams of sugar. Or as my husband calls them, a candy bar in disguise. He's not wrong. We want dopamine. We need dopamine, and we will get dopamine. But can we do it without sugar? You'll be glad to know the answer is yes. More right after a short break. Dopamine is made from tyrosine. Now, you said you liked chemistry better than anatomy, didn't you? Well, tyrosine is an amino acid or a building block for the manufacture of dopamine in the brain. But here's the problem. Dopamine doesn't just say, nice job. It says, more, now, again. And that is why it's involved in addiction. Drugs, tobacco, alcohol, shopping, and yes, food. And if you missed my interview with Dr. Anna Lemke, the author of Dopamine Nation, check it out in the show notes. It is a must-read book, too. But sugar doesn't just spike dopamine, it spikes blood sugar. Imagine a roller coaster, up, 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 down, 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 up and down, repeat. And when blood sugar crashes, your brain interprets that as a major crisis. Now, the toddler intern hits the panic button. Emergency, emergency, find me carbs immediately. And suddenly, leftover birthday cake feels like a medical necessity. You see, we've been taught that cravings are a character flaw, but they're not. Willpower lives in the prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO. And guess what? Sleep deprivation and stress and hunger literally shut down the CEO's office. So when you're exhausted and stressed and you eat cookies, it's not a moral failure, it's office hours. So how can we make dopamine without sugar? Well, there is good news. Dopamine is made from tyrosine, which is an amino acid found in things like beans and nuts and seeds and soy, whole grains. Magnesium helps too, so almonds and leafy greens and bananas, avocados, pumpkin seeds, and even dark chocolate. You're welcome. And dopamine loves lifestyle medicine. It loves movement and sunshine and walks in nature and music and laughter, massage, or petting your dog or cat, or if you're fancy, your horse. And prayer and meditation. It turns out that seeking the presence of God is neurochemically rewarding. Neuroscience and Sunday school agree. But chronic high sugar intake is associated with insulin resistance. Some researchers even call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Excess sugar is linked to memory problems and the all too familiar brain fog. It's also associated with mood disorders like anxiety and depression, and of course, weight gain, fatty liver, heart disease, and diabetes. So when we talk about cravings, we're not talking about vanity. We're talking about protecting your brain for decades to come. So think about your triggers. What triggers your cravings? Is it emotional eating or boredom? A quick fix for energy? Or PMS or insufficient sleep? Or just a mindless habit? Or maybe chronic stress because when cortisol is high, sleep is low, the toddler intern runs the show. Now, for the ladies, I'd like to share an opportunity for you. Next month, inside my private Facebook group, Healthy Looks Great on You, the lab, we're going to be conquering cravings, not from a place of restriction or relying on willpower, but regulation. And we use a simple framework: regulate, replace, retrain. Regulate your brain and blood sugar, replace the dopamine hits, and retrain your habits. That's foundational. No white knuckling, no shame, just science. So if cravings are your nightly nemesis, then join us in the lab. February is all about conquering cravings using brain science. We're going to talk about brain fog too, but what we're not going to talk about is guilt or shame, or we're not going to rely on willpower. You can go to healthylooksgreatonyou.com/the-lab/ or check out the link in the show notes. Because every time we rely on willpower to manage cravings, we're just putting extra strain on the very part of the brain we're trying to protect. So if your brain were a company, sugar cravings are what happen when HR goes home, the CEO is asleep, and the toddler intern finds the vending machine with your credit card. So next time the pantry calls your name, remember, it's not you. It's neuroscience, and a regulated brain will keep you eating healthy and make you healthy, and healthy looks great on you.
The information contained in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not considered to be a substitute for medical advice. You should continue to follow up with your physician or healthcare provider and take medication as prescribed. Though the information in this podcast is evidence-based, new research may develop and recommendations may change.